All right, start with pledge of allegiance.
To the
Pledge
flag.
allegiance to the flag of
The United States of America.
the
To the
Republic
republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me get it going. Come on now.
Public
Public comment?
Well, that was totally out of sync.
Hey, we all do those. All right.
Better not open it.
All right, first thing is reorganization. Any nominations for chair?
Mike McGuigan.
I've been nominated.
Oh, wait, who nominated you, Mike?
I did.
John did.
I'll take care of that one.
Any nominations for vice chair?
Adam, I'll
Adam. Any nominations for recording secretary?
Who is it now?
Karen.
Karen Weiss.
No changes. All right.
All
Care of that?
in favor?
Yeah, all in favor?
For all those votes?
Yep. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Perfect. Approval of the minutes from November 18th.
Sure.
John made a
Second.
motion, second by who? Lake Matuszewski's. Any questions on that? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? New business, construction update?
Send out. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. The only other thing I'll add in, which is not on the minutes, is I also sent out the vacant dangerous buildings. I did send out an updated one today. We added one more to it. The codes went out to and saw this morning. It was a horrible, extremely poor condition over at Plymouth Rock Apartments. So that went out to everybody, and the county was also notified about that additional one today. And police were.
Like one of my guys sent me back 1408 Oakland Boulevard and 1903 Little Avenue as vacant dangerous properties. You guys
Where were they
check-
again?
1408.
1408 Oakland, that's that overgrown property
We've
up
been
by
working on that
Fairfield.
one. Jim knows that one.
And
Okay.
then 1903 Little, if we can check on that one to see if that's how the status of that
I'll
is.
ask Jim. He doesn't have them on here, but I'll ask him.
I
Thanks.
think they're both those ones. cheeky ones.
Okay.
You remember? Yeah.
Any questions for Mike? Police department, Chris?
One thing we have is we started the hiring process, and the written test was last weekend. We're 200 and some candidates for the test. So,
Any questions for Chris? Farmersville, John?
Just a year-end wrap-up. We ran 713 fire calls last year, so it's a record-setting year for us yet again, second year in a row. Working on the annual report, so I'll get that out to the committee and to Township Council within the next couple weeks here. Just, do we have a status on the preemption on Butler Pike?
So, yes, I did speak with Higgins about a month ago, and again yesterday. They will scope it out, tell us how much it will cost. White Marsh is the lead on that signal. They told me PennDOT would have to approve it, but they will. You know, he said he was going to do it like Thursday, like today or
Okay.
Friday. But
Right.
a month ago they
Great.
told me they were going to do it then. But anyway, I actually spoke with them myself, and hopefully we'll have a cost on that, and then we'll have to take that back to council, and we'd have to get White Marsh's permission because they're the lead on the PennDOT condition diagram for that intersection.
Gotcha.
But they understood what we were looking for and will give us a price.
Outstanding, thank you for
We'll
that.
try to put
Legwork.
put it. There are a couple of utility telephone poles. They'll see if they can put it there, and they have to pull power to it.
Okay.
So they'll tell us what it will cost, and we'll have to get approval from PennDOT plus council, I suppose.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
The last thing I have is some of our phones are starting to go down on us at the firehouse. When they did the phone systems for Plymouth and everybody else a couple years ago, I know Harmville we didn't do our phones then.
Yeah.
Kevin said he has tried to reach out to Len 3 times and have left messages, and he has not gotten a response back. Do you think we can ask Len to give Kevin a call back so we can start working on a plan to get
Kevin
our phones
Lawrence?
replaced at the firehouse? Yeah.
Kevin.
Do you need a number for him?
I have it, I'm sure. I was going to say, so, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to put you on the system that Plymouth went to and was offered when we got a Nextel system, not Nextel, what is it called? It's not,
It's not. It's
Mitel.
Mitel.
When we start with the building and we renovate, we'll probably be ready for a new phone system ourselves. So, let me just talk to Len and see.
Yeah, and I know Kev just wants to start the conversation and stuff. He just hasn't gotten a response
Okay.
back, so he texted and said he could
Okay.
be asked to see if we can get Len to
Yeah,
call back.
I know that our original, so we leased the equipment for so many years, like 5 years. After that, we own it, but it's hard now to get the parts. That's why it's even hard for us to get parts when our phones go down. But let me see if they can get you some of those that would only be for a year or less, or
Yeah, we're starting
two year and a half until we get a whole new system anyway.
Great.
With the building
Okay.
renovation, we need a new system, and that's planned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Any questions for John? Plymouth Fire Company, John?
Yeah, we're just hitting the ground running for the new year. Last year, we ran 630 calls, a little bit, actually 19 short from the year before, but again, we're over 600 again for, I think, like the third year in a row. So quite busy. We had a better turnout for this year. I would attribute that to just better circumstances with people being able to get their vaccines and things like that, and a little bit safer for them to come out. So that was reassuring for us that we averaged a lot more manpower for 21 than we obviously did during the heart of the pandemic. But other than that, our out-of-township responses are up too, so that's a tribute to most of my people that they're obviously doing a good enough job that their neighbors want to utilize them too, just like Harmonville. So we were glad to see that too, that we could not only do ourselves the service here, but help our surrounding communities again for the year. So, but other than that, we're just we're getting to work for the new year, different projects. So,
Any questions for John? Bill, anything else, Tom?
So our year-end totals for 2022, we responded to 15,400 calls, and that was up about from like around 13,800 last year. Out of those 15,400, we transported 14,600. We were only covered by other municipalities or other agencies. Less than 1% of the time, was actually 0.8 to be exact. We covered other municipalities that accounted for about 18% of our calls, for a total of around 2,000 calls. We covered 98% of the squads in Montgomery County at least one time last year. And none of our stations dropped status for 2021. We were able to cover all our stations with at least one paramedic unit. And then finally, the chief wanted just to bring up, if any fire, police, or township employees looking for CPR, first aid, or AED training, to contact him, and he can set that up for us, for you guys, either at your facility or you can come out to our training center, one or the other. That's all I have.
Any questions for Tom? All right. Any miscellaneous?
Chris Monero has asked to take my position, but he couldn't come tonight, so he asked me to stay one more meeting.
Okay.
But Chris Monero will be the council member going forward.
All right. Well, thank you for everything you've done on the
Thank you.
Board?
All the questions I asked.
Hey.
Yeah. And I'm doing
It's
Parks
better
and
to ask
Recreation.
than
so.
assume. All right. Any old business? Next meeting's.
I was
Oh,
going to say,
sorry.
one thing for old business, I know this year, I don't know if it's, time to bring it up or next fall, but the pay per call stipends that we have, I guess council, so I guess Harmonville's went over the 30,000 budgeted this year, but following the criteria that was set up, the council did agree to pay it, but they did say going forward, they want to, I guess discuss it further and maybe come up with, something that else that works, because going over the budget, isn't why we budget. We budget to stick within the budget. So I don't really know, what all the discussion is. And obviously increasing the stipend is one way of doing it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think
at
when
some
we
point that may be exceeded, and when you have a budget, sometimes you have to stay within a budget, and then maybe the next year it could be increased, or whatever. But
when they originally ran the numbers, both of us were only running about 500 fire calls a year.
right, and it was supposed
Within the last 2 years, we've increased both at least 100 to 150. We've increased 200 in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And we've had I can only speak for Harmonville, we've had a huge increase in our membership.
Yeah.
So those numbers, and I brought it up now twice to council to think about updating that number, and we've consistently kept it at 30. I can tell you again, when we come up to October, November again, and we come up with these numbers, we're going to probably be well over 30 again.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell a volunteer, this is the program, come out for calls, come out for trainings, do this, do that, and then when it comes time to pay the piper,
yeah, it's
No.
and when just to go off of that, he's right. The circumstances change. Obviously, the dispatches has increased. Whether you want to count that because of some pandemic stuff, but also the fact that the stipend program brought members to both
Yeah.
organizations. Right, it's an incentive that people enjoyed, which helped everybody's membership. Right, so to see it. To see everybody's numbers going up, they have more members than us right now, which is a beautiful thing for the township. our membership, we're constantly looking for more, and we're going to get them, especially with these types of programs. The call volume is not going to go down, and because we're getting the members, because both of us are turning out such good products locally, our call volume is going to continue just for the fact that other people and the way they're changing their organizational leadership, they're going to call Harmonville and Plymouth into other municipalities, which is another dispatch, which is more money for members. Those incidents, if they're a working incident, are going to be well over an hour. There's more money to have to pay out for the members that are taking the time. So the circumstances are different, and we are appreciative of the money that is obviously allocated and budgeted. We're not saying, we're not trying to be greedy either, but the circumstances unfortunately did change for the program, and we're trying to adapt with a lot of different things. John's right. I mean, we need to look at coming up with something to adapt to it.
So maybe these are the good discussions you have to have at the budget time.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
If you
you
can
know,
let us know when we do our budget in October, beginning in October.
I did fix that as a
Yeah, so
budget item.
and let us know why we need to
It
change
was part of
that
both
30,000
presentations.
amount.
About the increase in that, because numbers were going up, call volume. I mean, we spoke at length at all of those things about the call volumes going up, the services going up, circumstances have changed. So we're trying to adapt to it internally, just like everybody else. But with the program itself, it was adapted for a different set of circumstances over 2 to 3 years ago. So
Yeah, I know it originally started at 25,000 each, and then it went to 30, and then it was 30 again. I know it didn't go up this year, and I don't think it went up for 2023 either. But it's just something to
We
be
need to
aware
talk
of.
about it, yeah, when we budget.
Okay. That's what I was told to relay.
Why do you think, not related to the budget or the amount, but why do you think these calls have increased so significantly, 2020, 2021?
More people moving into the area, more buildings and construction going on, possibly.
And it's just it's
different
twofold. It's our in-township responses are up, but also our mutual aid is up, and we are paying per call. So that call can be anywhere, and their call volume, our call volume. We are requesting mutual aid 6, 7, 8 different towns. I mean, we've been out to as far as Lower Merion, Lower Providence. They were out in Fort Washington and Ida and things like that too. So, a storm event brought about 60 calls in one day
Yeah,
for each organization.
So a lot
right?
of it's weather related?
So, well, it's part of it.
And-
It's not a lot of it. It's just a part of it. So
Yeah.
those are things that the program has to be able to adapt to too, right? Because it's one thing to average 2 to 3 calls a day or so many a week and a month and for the year, but then we get into a major hurricane that goes through. Other towns are requesting us. We spent 30 hours on the road for 70, 80, 90 dispatches for the companies. That was just in one day, right? So that's the budget. That's the money. That's $5 per individual per call. Most of those calls were well over an hour long. That's $10 per individual. We had 20, 25 people staffing the station for those events.
Wow.
That's a payout, right? So circumstances have changed. There's so many different factors that are changing and why these numbers are up that they're beyond our control. We're just responding to the incidents.
But you
So
have to,
we
yeah.
just have to have more dialogue of the circumstances are changed. Something else has to be able to adapt with it too as we are adapting. So otherwise the numbers are going to still be up and it's going to be over.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, we're certainly not trying to go over it. That's just kind of what falls
Hey,
into our
you're
lap.
doing your
So-
jobs, that's all, which is pretty
And
significant.
I know they would come and help us too. I'm grateful that we didn't suffer the consequences that Upper Dublin did. That was just
But yeah,
horrific.
that was a unique set of circumstances
That's
that might never
horrific.
happen again
Oh,
too.
let's
But
pray,
like for
yeah.
this past year, that alone put a huge dent. I mean, it put a dent in ours, but for them with even more membership and they were out just as much, even not more, because they were out there in different places.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, and they were out with us in White Marsh too. So they were in like 2 different places, mutual aid wise, let alone in Plymouth. So, it's just a lot. It's just kind of what fell into our laps, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change.
Yeah, so, maybe something that would be helpful by next October when you get the budget, maybe to have, a half a year's, I don't know if you do this monthly or all at once at the end of the year, but maybe by October of next year, or this year, you'll have a good indication. You'll only have a month and a half left or something, right? Or a month, is it through November 1?
It's
or
November to
30th?
November.
Oh, the end of November, but you know what I mean. If you could have 6 or 8 months done accumulated, but then you might be able to project it, what you're going to need, so that the amount budgeted will be close to what you need.
Yeah, I mean, we can give
You
you a
know what
rough,
I'm
we
saying?
can give you a rough
Instead of
ballpark at
waiting
that
till,
point.
yeah, a ball. You know what I mean? You'd have half the year or 3/4 of the year done. Maybe you'd have a good indication of what you're gonna be needing, so we can budget the appropriate amount.
Sure.
Something like that would be helpful. Okay, all right, thanks, that was my old business.
Any other old business? All right, next meeting's March 17th here. Any audience participation? Anybody make a motion to adjourn? Motion by John, seconded by Karen. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? You all have a good night.